This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Wednesday, March 11th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So, pre-market's looking pretty much the same. I mean, we just have, a whole bunch of stocks that we're going to have to be paying attention to, but our list is going to be the ones that are, we should be specifically focusing on. First thing is going to be PDD. So if we come back all the way to this morning, and now this is kind of interesting because you can see at 8:07 this morning, basically from 36.10 to 36, and then underneath 35.66, we had a huge amount of print, and especially for that time when the orders aren't really that big. Now I want you to understand something is that yes, it's already at 35.28, but this amount of prints at 36.10 is telling us that there's no chance that we hold this 35. Okay, but that's the overall. What we're going to need to do is see shorter term prints that tell us that it's actually going to be able to break that 35 now, considering the fact that it's going to be a big psychological level. If we come back over at when those prints came in at a little bit above the 36 level, you can see it never really pulled up, and we know that there's games that are going to be played at 35. So what we really want to do is we want to make sure that we get short term that shows us the break underneath. Otherwise, we're going to get a huge pull up that comes up above that 36 level. So without shorts, so new selling isn't going to just do it. It's got to be short term selling on top of new selling to tell us that we're really going to be able to just go straight at that 35. Otherwise, we're going to be expecting a real big pull up, and then obviously, the overall move, we're going to be looking for that trigger back down underneath the 35. But just keep in mind this amount of prints at that time period. Now it's going to take a lot longer for them to come into fruition based off of what our rules are, although it's a little bit of an exception right now, trading 1.1 million shares when that's just not normal whatsoever for this thing during the pre-market. So it is a little bit of an exception, but just keep in mind because they happened earlier, usually take longer to come into fruition. Never really got that great pull up, which overall, if you look, we only really had one print that came in at 36. So there's a lot of possibilities here that we need to be ready for all of them. Okay, the one, well, it's really, two of them. Okay, either we just get the short-term prints that come in and we get that quick breakdown, so make sure you have an order ready for that. And then also if we get that trigger back up towards those 36 prints. So basically it's going to tell us, out of those two possibilities, which one we're going to be looking for. Next thing looking at is INO. Obviously this is going to have to stay on our list because this thing is just a monster. Make sure that you went out there and that you have shares for this. They are available. And coming into the morning with it, I haven't seen anything that I've fell in love with yet. I mean, you have some selling at 7. I really did like this burst that came above that 7 level, but because 7 is just so all over the place, it's not very clean whatsoever. Overall, I really do like these prints though that came in between 705 and 715. So I'm going to be using those for the most part. We can see it's already kind of pulling back from that. And then overall, I wouldn't be shocked, with the jump up that we see right here for the, some follow through to come in with retail and really get us back up after this pull down comes. Like I said, these I didn't fall in love with them, but at the same time, they really, really stand out as a position. The selling that came in afterwards, it's definitely a lot, smaller, a lot more short term. So it looks like these are just going to be riders to be following this down for its pull down, and then we're going to be looking for that trigger back up towards those prints. Now I know, like I said, they're not really controlling prints, but overall, based off of where the positioning of them are, really showing us that they should not take that long to come into fruition. Next thing, CODX. So basically, we're kind of following the same type of deal. Now, I was able to get shares this morning of CODX as well. Make sure that you go out there because, as of right now, once again, this one, it has some decent buying prints that came in. Now, I didn't see anything, that really stood out near those highs. We have a little bit, coming over that 850, 860 area. But once again, just not as much as I would like to see. And on its way down, we've been getting some, just kind of a mix. So, excuse me. So it hasn't given us a great show of hand that came into it yet, but we know this thing could move. And with such a cheap stock that we could go both long and short on, once that show of hand jumps out at us, it should turn into a very nice trade. Once again, this is not over. So these stocks that we've been watching for the past, weeks and weeks, I was watching just some numbers yesterday, and I know Italy yesterday alone had 178 deaths from it. And that could be, there's a million different things that could go into those numbers and stuff. But like I said, it's still the number one thing that we see being talked about out there. So all these stocks are going to be able to continue to keep giving us these moves until really, it starts to kind of fade away. Now, next one, IYTU from yesterday. So the thing about this is that we had that beautiful move that came in yesterday, and it had a lot of volume. Now, unfortunately, I was doing Traders Exchange, so I'm not really familiar with all the prints here, but I know that we had enough buying for this thing to be able to run, and it just ended up getting halted constantly, which kind of made it, die out. Then we ended up gapping down. But if you actually look over here and just to consolidate it so you have a visual of it, it's actually still sitting in a bullish consolidation. So once we break basically underneath right about here, right about that 150 level, not really going to have as high of a percentage of getting that trigger back to the upside. But as long as we do hold up above that, a trigger towards the top, we do have the buying there to be able to go after. And then based off the amount, just the sheer amount of buying that we saw coming into this yesterday, it has the buying to be able to break three all the way down here. So overall, definitely, it usually would be, it's not it's not a side list because of that fact that it's holding that 150. It's still in, it's a sloppy consolidation, but it's still a very bullish consolidation. So like I said, trigger back to the upside. We have enough buying to really be able to hit this double top from yesterday, as well as be able to break past there. Higher day yesterday, yes, 299. All right, now let's go to our side list. First one, HTBX. So HTBX right now, the reason it's on our side list because it does have all great variables. Now, first of all, make sure it fits your game plan because this thing is not typically going to be something that we end up, seeing, run a few bucks. But overall, if we look at this consolidation, we have, that jump up, and I'm just using this to consolidate it for you guys so you have the visual. But if we look over here, you can see it's actually in a little bit of a staircase coming in. And if, we look over here, it's in, more of a bullish pennant. But, if we take it and we break it and consolidate it down, like I said, kind of in that staircase, so we trigger back towards the upside. Yesterday, we started seeing that buying coming in. Does it have enough to break one? It might, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter because one's going to give us new information anyway. That's what our price target's going to have to be. And then we can kind of take the rest of our trade from there. Hopefully, it just breaks past, but I don't really see enough coming into it this morning that really shows that. So I'm going to want to, definitely see a little bit more. But like I said, downward staircase and a trigger back towards that upside, one should certainly be a doable price target. Next one, PHIO. So I'm a little bit disappointed in this. And the reason I say that is because if we look, this is really where we started this morning, and now we're there. So we know that there had to be some type of positions coming in. Really, the higher positions this morning coming in were right around here, right around that 365, 360 area. That ended up pushing it back up. And the fact that we went underneath it does not make me happy at all. But if we look right here, that's where the consolidation actually started. So it's kind of sitting on top of that. If it breaks past, I'm not really going to be paying too much attention, but we still have some decent buying that came in, not really too much above the 4 level, but as we were coming up to the 4. So if we come back over here, you can see the 4, it's just a little bit mixed, not really much there, but the 425, little bit, nothing too crazy, but overall, it's definitely has some type of, it has some attributes that give it the ability to pop up. And with this much volume, 1.5 million shares already being traded, when on average it trades 272,000, something that we just have to keep an eye on. Under 4 for a few days, we see 100%. It's disgusting looking. So the fact that it jumped up right now, the amount of buying that could have happened with, just think about the volume that we have here and the amount of volume that we have going into here. It's just one of those things that has variables. It has the variables to be able to get all the way back up. So what we want to do is we want to pay attention, but it's definitely on the bottom of the side list. And then AIM, guys, we still have to watch AIM. And the reason being, once again, is because if we look, yesterday it showed signs of really, really great buying, and we know we're underneath that 5. So we know what's going to end up happening is we're going to play games. But look at where we pushed, okay, into here. And then I just didn't see enough of people getting out near those highs to tell me that there's just nothing left in there. So it's not the prettiest thing at all. It's actually kind of a little bit of like a head and shoulders, which is, kind of irrelevant. But if we look at still kind of holding over here on this pretty strong, it's just a lot of congestion. I wouldn't call this really, the bottom we would call support, but really it's just in a lot of congestion. So the fact that we're, coming towards the top of that congestion, we might be able to get, a nice push coming in here. And like I said, the buying that we saw coming in the past few days, I just haven't really seen all of it get out. So you know what, this thing, we know it can run. We could go from 4 back up to 9 so easily. So it's on our side list. It hasn't given us anything great yet, but it's just another one where, you know what, if we don't anticipate it happening, then we're going to miss it. And what's going to end up happening is going to make that run. We're going to try to get in on the 3rd, 4th trigger. Our chances of being shaken out are going to be just that much higher. So that's why it's on our side list, is because I'm going to be ready for it, okay? Because if that move happens, there's just a huge opportunity there. It doesn't always mean opportunity is going to happen, there's going to come into it, but the fact of, all the other variables that we have, it definitely has, like I said, that opportunity coming in. All right, and then obviously there's some other things out there that you're probably going to keep an eye on. Oxy has just been such a really smooth trade. I can't put it on our list because there's just nothing going on there yet. But this is just past 2 days, just really, really smooth trade. So I would keep my eyes on that. I know it's going to be on my list. And then you just have, the normal stuff that we've been looking at, SPCE, I'm, going to keep an eye on, just everything that kind of, has been giving us a bunch of moves lately. NVAX is another one that, it has been a decent trade here and there. So just a few of those things. ZM, of course. ZM is one of my stocks that I put on as an everyday stock now, because it's not a name brand stock, but it trades so damn well. So I know Andy had said that yesterday. If you don't have it, you should. Now, once again, if it's too expensive and it's above your level, it doesn't mean you have to. But if you're trading stocks over 100, this is just a really great stock. Just nothing really in there this morning yet. And then Guilds, let's take a look. So Guilds, it's got some prints at 739. The only problem, Guild's an everyday stock too. I mean, for the most part, it's going to give you some good moves. It's just way too consolidated right now within its trading. But definitely. So MRO we talked about yesterday. Right now, there's just not enough in there for me to really do too much with. 331,000 shares. It really kind of looks dead. So there's better stuff for us to be looking at right now. And then TTOO, I didn't even see. Let's see. See, this is going to be a hard one. I mean, I'll put this one on our side list, but this definitely is going to need to fit your, game plan, because this is just going to be a huge quantity type stock. I mean, look what the volume that just came in, and you're talking about this is pre-market moved basically 6 cents. So, that's, that's going to be, going to be an interesting one. I'll put it on the bottom of our side list though, because I'll definitely look to be able to trade it, but this is going to be hard to fit in a lot of people's game plans. All right, guys. Anything else out there that I missed? All right, beautiful. So let's get ready for the morning. Let's just be careful. Remember about halts. So if you're trading these cheaper stocks and they start to run, just be careful and be aware. You have to anticipate that there's going to be halts coming. We've seen it all, over and over again the past week. All right, and that, we talked about yesterday in Traders Exchange. Make sure that on a stock like that you're aware of it, and if you adjust your game plan for it. All right, guys. So I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.